Once there was a young man named Daniel who had no interest in hard work. He dreamt of living a life of luxury, but was unwilling to put in the effort to achieve it. Instead, he devised a plan to marry a wealthy older woman, hoping to inherit her fortune once she passed away. Daniel believed himself to be clever, but he underestimated the wisdom of the woman he intended to deceive. She, however, had lived a life full of experiences and was much sharper than he had anticipated. Before we delve deeper into this intriguing story, please consider liking this video, sharing it, and subscribing to our channel for more fascinating tales filled with life lessons. Daniel was 23 years old and had always been averse to work. His parents had supported him through school and beyond, but as he grew older, they realized it was time for him to stand on his own. They urged him to find a job and move out of their home, hoping he would learn the value of hard work and responsibility. Reluctantly, Daniel found a job at a local cafe. However, he despised it. He was often late, treated customers poorly, and generally disliked the routine of daily work. The thought of spending his life working for others filled him with dread. Despite his good looks, Daniel was rarely successful in relationships, as women quickly saw through his lack of ambition and motivation. Daniel loved having money to buy nice things and visit fancy places, but he never had enough. He resented spending his own money and often relied on others to cover his expenses. He was discontented with his life and constantly daydreamed about finding an easy way to wealth. One day, while Daniel was at work, a customer entered the cafe who was unlike any he had ever seen. Daniel was used to serving the usual clientele, office workers, students, and everyday people grabbing a quick bite before heading off to their next destination. But this customer was different. A luxurious car pulled up outside the cafe, and a chauffeur stepped out to open the rear door. Out came an elegantly dressed older woman, her white hair perfectly styled, and her demeanor exuding confidence. She was clearly someone of importance, a fact underscored by the security personnel who accompanied her. Daniel, who usually paid little attention to the customers he served, noticed this woman immediately. Her sophisticated appearance caught his eye, and he realized that she was not just any ordinary customer. She had an air of wealth and power about her. For the first time in a long while, Daniel decided to take his job seriously. As she waited patiently in line, Daniel quickly formulated a plan. He greeted her with an exaggerated smile, his voice dripping with politeness as he asked, "How may I help you today, madam?" The woman, whose name was Gloria, ordered a simple meal for herself and a tea for her driver. Daniel sprang into action, processing the order with a level of efficiency and care that surprised even his coworkers. He made sure everything was perfect before handing over the food, adding a subtle compliment as he did so. "You look stunning today, ma'am. Your outfit is truly elegant," Daniel said, looking into her eyes. Gloria, though taken aback by his unexpected flattery, smiled graciously. She hadn't anticipated anything beyond a quick meal, but found herself intrigued by this young man. Before leaving, Gloria reached into her purse and handed Daniel a business card. It contained her name and contact number. "If you're ever looking for an opportunity, give me a call," she said before exiting the cafe. The next morning, Daniel wasted no time. He called the number on the card, barely able to contain his excitement. A voice on the other end of the line answered politely, "How may I assist you?" Daniel explained who he was, and the secretary informed him that Gloria had already mentioned him. A job interview was scheduled for the following day. Daniel eagerly accepted, not even bothering to ask about the position. All he cared about was the chance to escape his current life. He arrived at the office hours before the scheduled interview, determined to make a good impression. Gloria, who typically didn't conduct interviews personally, was intrigued by his eagerness and decided to make an exception. Daniel dressed impeccably for the occasion, and his charm was in full force as he entered her office. Gloria, a successful businesswoman in her 70s, was impressed by Daniel's presentation. His communication skills were polished, and he seemed to have a clear vision for his future. She saw potential in him, and despite her initial reservations, she decided to give him a chance. Daniel was hired on the spot and assigned to the sales department, where he would be responsible for promoting and selling agricultural equipment, a business Gloria had built from the ground up after her husband's death. Gloria's company was one of the largest agricultural equipment suppliers in the region, a legacy left by her late husband. She had taken over the business 13 years ago, despite having no prior experience in the field. Her natural talent for leadership and business acumen had turned the company into a thriving empire. Daniel knew little about the company's history, but as he walked through the halls, he noticed photos of Gloria and her late husband adorning the walls. He also observed that Gloria no longer wore a wedding ring. As he pieced together the details, Daniel devised a new plan. He would win Gloria's heart, marry her, and eventually inherit her wealth. Daniel didn't feel guilty about his intentions. To him, it was a perfectly reasonable way to secure the life of luxury he had always dreamed of. He convinced himself that Gloria, being an older woman, wouldn't have many years left, and once she was gone, he would be the sole beneficiary of her fortune. Determined to make his plan a reality, Daniel threw himself into his work like never before. He became one of the top salesmen in the company, surprising everyone with his dedication and success. His charm and smooth-talking ways allowed him to close deals with ease, and within a few months, he had secured 2 major contracts that brought significant profits to the company. Gloria was impressed by Daniel's work and decided to reward him with a dinner at one of the city's finest restaurants. During the dinner, Daniel laid on the charm thickly, complimenting Gloria on her beauty and grace. They talked late into the night, with Daniel fabricating stories about his so-called hard-working past, while Gloria shared tales of her adventures with her late husband. As their relationship grew, Daniel saw his opportunity to take things to the next level. He waited for the perfect moment and then asked Gloria to be his girlfriend. Gloria was taken aback by the proposal. Although they had grown close, she hadn't expected him to make such a move, especially given their age difference. At first, Gloria hesitated, considering the absurdity of dating someone so much younger, but Daniel's persuasive charm won her over, and she eventually agreed. Delighted by the attention and affection he showered her with, Daniel knew he had to tread carefully. His plan required delicacy and patience. He spent more time with Gloria, taking her to places she had never been, introducing her to new experiences, and treating her with a level of care that made her feel young again. They explored the city together, visiting high-end restaurants, attending exclusive events, and enjoying the finer things in life. For Gloria, this was a welcome change from her usual routine. After her husband's death, she had thrown herself into work, becoming reclusive and focused solely on business. Daniel's attention brought new energy into her life, and she found herself falling deeply in love with him. A few months into their relationship, Gloria made an unexpected gesture. She rented the most luxurious suite at the city's finest hotel and arranged for Daniel to be flown in by helicopter, a first for him. When he arrived, Gloria greeted him warmly and led him to the balcony, where she surprised him with a marriage proposal. Daniel, who had been planning to propose himself, was momentarily stunned, but he quickly recovered and accepted, knowing this was exactly what he had been working towards. Gloria, overjoyed, embraced him, unaware of his true intentions. Despite her happiness, Gloria began to notice subtle changes in Daniel's behavior. On the night of the proposal, she observed how rudely he treated the hotel staff. Although she initially brushed it off, it raised a red flag in her mind. Over time, she also noticed that Daniel's spending habits had changed dramatically. He began wearing expensive designer clothes and accessories, living the life of a millionaire, all funded by Gloria's wealth. Unbeknownst to Daniel, Gloria's bank manager had also noticed the unusual transactions and reached out to her to confirm that everything was in order. This call further fueled Gloria's suspicions. She had always been frugal, never caring much for luxury despite her wealth. She had come from humble beginnings and had worked hard to support her husband's business in its early years, even when it was nothing more than a dream on paper. Gloria's journey from poverty to prosperity had taught her the value of money, and she had always been careful with her finances. But now, with Daniel in her life, she began to worry that she had been too trusting. The thought of being deceived by someone she cared about deeply troubled her. Determined to find out the truth, Gloria hired a private investigator to follow Daniel and report back on his activities. For several weeks, the investigator trailed Daniel, documenting his every move. What Gloria discovered was heartbreaking. Daniel had been using his time away from her to pursue another woman. He was spending Gloria's money on expensive gifts, dinners, and nights out, all while pretending to be a devoted husband-to-be. The investigator's report included photographs and bank statements that clearly showed Daniel's betrayal. Gloria was devastated. She had allowed herself to believe in love again, only to be used and deceived. But instead of confronting Daniel immediately, she decided to turn the tables on him. She would not let him get away with his treachery. First, Gloria cut off all of Daniel's credit cards and access to her bank accounts without notifying him. The next time Daniel tried to use one of the cards to pay for an expensive dinner with his lover, it was declined. Embarrassed and angry, Daniel tried multiple cards, but each one was denied. He was forced to leave the restaurant in disgrace, unable to pay the bill. When Daniel returned home, he demanded an explanation from Gloria. She calmly told him it must be a bank error and assured him she would resolve it the next day. But Gloria had no intention of fixing anything. Instead, she visited her bank and revised her will and inheritance plans. She decided that her fortune would be used to establish a nonprofit organization to support and educate underprivileged children. The organization would provide shelter, food, clothing, and education for children in need, giving them opportunities that Gloria had never had in her youth. She also made sure that her company would be divided among its shareholders, ensuring its continued success after her passing. Gloria knew her time was running out. She had been battling health issues for years, and her condition was worsening. She passed away quietly, leaving behind a letter with her faithful driver, instructing him to deliver it to Daniel after her death. At Gloria's funeral, her will was read aloud. The attendees, including Daniel, were shocked to learn that the bulk of her fortune would go to charity. Daniel, who had expected to inherit everything, was left with nothing but a key to a safe deposit box at the city's most prestigious bank. Daniel, still hopeful, rushed to the bank, imagining the riches that awaited him. But when he opened the safe, all he found was an old coffee cup, the same one he had served Gloria on the day they met, and a note that read, "Hope you enjoy the bitter taste. With love, your deceased wife." The realization hit Daniel like a ton of bricks. Gloria had known all along about his deceit. The cup was a symbol of the trust he had betrayed, and the note was her final message to him, a reminder of the life he could have had if he had been honest. Daniel's plan had failed spectacularly. He was left with nothing, no money, no job, and no future. His reputation was ruined, and he became the subject of ridicule in the city. Meanwhile, Gloria's legacy lived on through the non-profit organization she had established, helping countless children build better lives. This story serves as a powerful reminder that deceit and greed never lead to happiness. In the end, honesty and integrity are worth far more than any material wealth. If you enjoyed this story, please consider giving it a like, sharing it with others, and subscribing to our channel for more tales filled with valuable life lessons.